Are you gonna see his phone, or is his phone good? Because he's just gonna record the
Over
audio.
there?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Under my chair.
Underneath him.
I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
It's up to you. I don't. Shoot, this is the wrong side, guys.
Make sure wireless is both off.
You know what I mean? If I want to put it on.
Well, we appreciate you sitting down with us, JP.
Appreciate Rich reaching out many times.
I feel like we've been talking since, literally, since right after it happened. Oh, shoot. Oh, hold on, guys. Do I just?
JP, did you bring yourself a water that you want to pick up in here? No, you didn't.
Like that?
Okay. There's a water up there. Is that yours?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay, thank you.
You sure? Okay.
Yeah. Do a quick sound sync here.
Me?
Put your hands like kind of in a shot. Not you.
Oh, clap.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm just
The sausage. So what, this isn't a question for the interview, but like, is this, are you, I know that you had stepped down from here temporarily. Are you back? Are you?
not back. I was, let's say, released.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's still current.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm still coming to church here and I'm a part of it.
Okay.
but I was released in order to get healthy.
Gotcha. Can you show me the shot? I just want to see how far down it goes. Okay. See it? Yep. All right. You guys good? Two shot. Seems good, right? All right. I wrote my questions on my phone, so I gotta refer to this. Forgive me. Ready? Ready? Okay.
Can you
You
get
good?
your shirt a little bit? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so
It's
sorry.
okay.
I'm so sorry.
You need a minute?
Oh man. Oh man.
What's tripping you up?
Just being able to tell. Being able to talk about everything. It's like that. People don't care to hear the truth. They just click off of feelings and believe, whoever screams the loudest rather than whoever has the truth of what happened. I really appreciate y'all coming out and coming to New York and being willing to be here about.
You got it.
And the other people in the world made it out to be something it's not. And we didn't care about her.
It's all
I'm
good.
so sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry's just been building up. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh God, I apologize, man. I'm so sorry. Oh, jeez. Okay.
Do you need a tissue, Joe?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry.
Sure?
Yep.
Let me grab
Wanna
you
wipe
a
your-
tissue.
I'm good.
Let me just grab you a tissue.
Okay. I put this color stuff on my eyebrows. I didn't smear anymore, did I?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Thank you. Thank you. My eyebrows are getting thin because I'm getting old. So.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
I guess that segues perfectly into my first question, which is, you and I have been talking since this happened, basically, communicating over text. Why now? Why the decision to speak now after all this time has passed? Where's your head at?
Well, I think part of it is I finally got the approval of my attorneys to do so. They, the ones working on the defamation cases, they said it's easier to win a defamation case the more the people talk. And so they've been collecting a lot of evidence over the past while. And also I think that now that some of the emotion has died down in the world and with people that are led by their feelings, I think now they deserve to hear some logic and some truth and make their own assessment. So,
Do you miss her?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What have these last months been like for you?
Oh man, wow. Well, I have Jesus, so I'm okay. And I'm relying on Him every single day. And the Christians, people who Jesus is the Lord of their life, they're very, very supportive, extremely supportive. I had no idea the world could be so evil. I'm shocked, absolutely shocked. Some of the things that have happened and gone on. I can't even begin to understand what some of these, like for instance, some of the YouTube people and the social media people, Robbie, Stinky Harvey is what we call him, the evil that he would produce and the things that would happen because of his work blows my mind. I mean, children starving in Africa, not going to get food because of what he's done. And, our school here, we started a school for kids who were bullied in public schools, and we would raise money for whatever they needed to get into this school if they were bullied where they're at. And now some of those kids can't return because of the stuff that Robbie's done and the defamation that he's caused. And so I'm shocked by Mica's family. I knew that there were some, her and I both knew over the years that there was a lot of unhealthy things in them, and that's why she's blocked me so many times. I had no idea they would do some of the things they've done. It just blows my mind. And so, but every day I spend time with Jesus, and I make sure I stay grounded, and I try to keep forgiving. And for the sake of Mica, she very much would have wanted me to continue to forgive her family, and we did over the years many times. And so I just try to stay focused on that.
Did you see this coming?
Yes, but it doesn't change at all the power of the pain of reality. I saw it coming for years. I told them for years this would happen over. I said, if she gets off her medicine, suicide is the next thing. She tried it in the past, but with me, she always remained okay with me. She was on her meds with me. She was healthy and happy. And even if she did get low or stop taking her medicine, I would help her get back on it, and things would be fine without me and with her family. She's off meds, and she committed suicide. And I told them this would happen over and over again. I tried my best to stop her from getting a gun. I went to judges. I have copies of all the police. I talked to her counselor, the pastor she was going to, her family, her friends. I told them all, don't let her get a gun. Do whatever it takes to prevent her from getting a gun. And when she was with me, she was never able to go that far. But with them, that's exactly what happened, and it destroyed me. And I still haven't really grasped it. Like it hasn't. I kind of keep putting off the reality of it. And, I try not to think about it as much as I can.
What was going on in your marriage the week Mica died?
We didn't talk that entire week. I'd emailed her several times that week, and my regular emails or sending her letters telling her that I love her. And she came over to the house. The last time I saw her was a few weeks before she passed away. We spent about 4 hours together, and we hugged and kissed. And she was in and out of psychotic conversations. She would say, one thing about double agents that are following her. That was one of the phrases she would use when she was off her meds, double agents. The other phrase she would say, she wants to come home so bad, but her family won't let her. She told me she wanted to live in Africa and asked me if I'd live with her. I said, sure, if you take your medicine, you know. And so she told me if I'd give her some money and if I would write her a letter saying certain things in this letter that she would take her medicine. And so I tried that. But she desperately wanted to come home. She was just so afraid her family would disown her. And so the week before she passed away, I probably emailed her maybe 7 or 8 times that week just saying, I love you. You need your lithium. You know, don't forget who you are when you're on medicine versus who you are when you're off. She had lost 40 pounds in a month, and nobody that was in her life thought to take care of her. Nobody. She was living with a former registered nurse. Her family, quote unquote, were taking care of her. She lost 40 pounds in 1 month, and no one thought she needed help. She was talking about living in Africa. No one thought she needed help. She was making videos on Facebook, and if you see the videos, you know it's not her because she has a different cadence, a different tone, a different amount of words per minute when she's healthy and on medicine than when she's off. And the way she was even looking into space when she's taking those videos, you knew she was delusional. And if somebody loved her enough to take her to a professional and say, okay, this woman says she's being abused, or this woman says, you know, this, or she's lost 40 pounds in a month. If someone thought, I need to take her to a professional, that professional would have known that she needed medicine. And the reason I know that's true is because I took her a few weeks before she passed away. I took her to probate court. And in 3 minutes time, she went in, she walked back out. When I went in, they said, your wife is mentally ill and she needs medicine desperately. And I said, okay, let's do it. Let's get her the medicine. Let's get her help. And they said, she's not a danger to anybody in society, so we can't force her to do it. But if one of her family members or friends had taken note of the way she was acting and seen what was happening to her physically and taken her to just one professional, they could have saved her life.
Where were you when Mica died?
It was on a Saturday. I was in Charleston with about 100 people from my kids' school.
What was it?
Oh, soccer. It was a soccer tournament.
Okay, so we know, I've gone through Mica's last day, pretty much almost down to the minute. Bring us through your last day? You said soccer. Do you have any documentation that they were there?
Oh,
pictures
you're asking because, okay, I got you. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can't believe people. Oh, my Lord. So, yeah, I was with about 100 people. We had dinner that night. We were all together at the soccer fields that day. Afterwards, after the soccer game, somebody was with me the entire time, who I can't name due to legal purposes, but I will say it's somebody that I love more than anything else on planet Earth.
Man or woman?
Young person that I cannot name due to legal purposes, but somebody that I am responsible for and love very, very much. Yeah. And that person was with me, and we went shopping in Charleston, and we got food in Charleston, and there's all the receipts from that throughout the time. I think we might have gotten gas too, and then made it back to Myrtle Beach. And I was just actually looking today at emails that I sent her that day. I sent her 4 emails that day, and I just noticed today that 2 of those she wasn't able to read because it was after it happened.
I'm going to jump around a little bit, but here, the day that she died, there were several ear witnesses, let's say, to gunshots. Have you been in touch with the fishermen or any of these other witnesses since then? I've
never seen the fisherman. I've never heard him speak. I don't know anything about him at all. I don't look it online. I don't watch the stuff online to know anything. But I will say that from what I understand, it sounds like everyone's given Robinson County a hard time when I couldn't imagine it being a more easy case to solve. And these are the professionals, right? And then you have these people who don't do it for a living all over social media saying horrible things about people that do it for a living. That's like you being a, what's your title, like a reporter?
Correspondent, yeah.
Correspondent, okay. That's like someone on TikTok telling you how horrible you're doing of a job when they don't do your job for a living and know nothing about it. And my poor wife, she tried it before. She went to Dick's Pawn Shop before, same place, to get a weapon, which over the past 3 months before she passed away, I took away her CWP. I went to a judge and asked if he would do anything to prevent her from getting a weapon. I went to a police officer because she came to the house one day with police officers. She told them she wanted clothing, but she was actually trying to get ammunition, and they had to physically throw out of the house. So I had that police officer come with me to her doctor's office and tell her doctor what happened so they could help me do something to prevent her from getting a weapon. And her doctor told me that day that her father drove her there and had her sign out of Waccamaw Mental Health. so they can no longer help her with her mental illness. I did everything I could to stop her from getting a weapon, everything you could imagine. I hired a private eye, and I said, put a tracker on her car, and if she gets anywhere near a gun store, please let me know. I did everything I could think of. And
did that private eye alert you
she never,
that day?
No, I had stopped paying for it about 4 weeks beforehand. Yeah.
Why?
Running out of money, and people telling me that she was totally fine and I'm wasting my time. And we said, oh, she's normal. We see, oh, one friend called me up and said, Micah's so happy, she's going to move to Africa. And I said, that's not, people don't move to Africa. Africa people move to America. Like, that's not, that's not your right mind. You don't do that. And I said, she lost 40 pounds. Oh, she's just trying to lose weight. You don't lose 40 pounds in a month. That's not normal. What was the question?
Let me go back to the fisherman.
So the Robinson County
Do you
stuff.
believe his story?
I don't even know what his story is, and I hadn't heard
You
it.
haven't. So you haven't watched his story at all.
I have no idea.
What do you think happened that day?
So, according to what she's tried to do in the past, according to her doctors who've taken care of her for years, and according to me who's seen it over and over again, I imagine that she was in an incredibly euphoric attitude. I saw her pictures on the Dick's Pawn Shop. Someone sent me screenshots of the Dick's Pawn Shop pictures when she's smiling. Which out of the 6 or 7 times that she tried to commit suicide in the past, only one of those times was she depressed. The other times she was very euphoric. And she would wake up and say, I think I'm supposed to die today. And I said, no, honey, you're not going to do that. She said, well, my mind tells me that I'm supposed to kill myself. I said, we're not going to listen to your mind. We're going to take you to a doctor and get you help. And I discovered, of course, that she had stopped taking her meds each time. But either way, she was in a euphoric attitude. So you see the Dick's Pawn Shop video where she's wearing her work clothes and with a smile on her face. So they sold her a weapon, and then I assumed that she drove. She told one of her best friends. So far, the 4 people she spent the most time with every week, no one's interviewed or talked to those 4 people. And one of those people that I talked to told me that she told her 2 years ago, if I ever commit suicide, I'm going to go to this place in Lumberton, the state park or something like that.
Which friend is that?
I probably wouldn't want to name her because I saw this friend one time here in public for 30 seconds. And of course, Robbie S. Harvey, as usual, got somebody to take a picture and destroy the girl's life, brought up her past and horrible things about her. So people are scared to tell the truth or to talk about the good things of Mica because of the social media.
So this friend says that Mica told her, if I'm going to take my life, I will probably do it in Lumberton River State Park.
She told me that after Mica passed away, but she told me that Mica told her that 2 years ago. So.
Did she say why? Why that location?
She said because Mica told her it was peaceful and outdoors. And Mica did love the outdoors, loved the outdoors. Vacations were outdoorsy vacations. That's what she loved. But
Had she ever been there?
No, not that I know of. Not ever that I know of.
Do you guys have any connection to that area?
Not at all.
Have you ever been there?
Nope. I've never even heard of the place. I never even heard of, what's the city? Robinson County. I've never even heard there before.
So did it strike you as, before you heard this, did it strike you as odd when you heard that where she went and what they say allegedly happened? Did you question it at all?
Well, I didn't think it was real. I thought her family had made it up and had somebody call me and say that. So that's one good thing. I didn't think it was real. When I found out it was real, you know how like you tell somebody something, you tell them. Then when it happens, you don't want to say I told you so because it's a horrible thing. That's what I felt like. I felt like I told y'all. Like I told her family this so many times you can't imagine. I told her friends this. I told everybody. I said if y'all don't get her lithium, she's going to commit suicide. Her doctor told her this on paperwork where her doctor said this, and then when I get the call, I felt like the world's biggest failure because I spent the past 3 months when her family got her out of the hospital and didn't bring her home, and her dad talked her into buying him a car, and all this stuff was happening that was all crazy. I made a vow that I was going to do something every single day to try to get her back on her lithium and save her life. And so every day I did something. Sometimes I did 4, 5, 6, 7 things. Some days it's just one thing. But every day, whether it was an email or text, visit someone, talk to a family member, talk to a friend, go somewhere, go to a judge, go to probate. I'm going to do something to save her life. And I spent every single day for those 3 months doing that. So getting that phone call made me feel like the world's greatest failure. I was against the whole world because everyone told me that it wasn't true and that I was making it up and that whatever they were saying. So it was me against the world for 3 months, and I failed.
What was the call, and who was the call from, and what did they say?
Man, sorry, my nose itches sometimes when I talk or get nervous. Sorry, I won't pick it on camera, that's for sure. Man, that was a crazy night. It was a man. I got a call, and it was I think it was a detective. I think, and I remember him being very calm and very nonchalant, and so that's when I thought, well, this is not real. And so I started screaming. I had a family member that was there with me. I started screaming for them to use their phone to call the hospital where the guy said she was at. And my family member called the hospital and said it was real. And I still didn't believe it. And so I called a police chief that I know somewhere around here, captain or somebody. And I said, there's a detective named such and such on the phone telling me these things. Like, is this real? Is this a real person or not? And that person told me that it was real as well. And I just remember screaming really loud and throwing up everywhere. And
What did they tell you?
I remember throwing up. There was a lot of throw up. There was something red. I'm sorry.
What did they tell you?
I don't remember that. Oh, no, I don't remember that. Hold on. I don't remember who said. My family member called the hospital and spoke to, I think, either the head nurse or medical examiner or somebody. And that lady read me stuff that the Robinson County, I guess, had wrote on a piece of paper. And she was reading me suicide and the weapon and where it was at and all these different facts. And so then because the detective would not tell me it was suicide. And then I called him back. Told him what the hospital told me, and he was pissed off and asked me who that lady's name was, and I didn't know her name. And if I didn't, I wanted to tell him anyway, because I'm glad she told me anyway. And so, and I said, "Is this stuff true?" And I can't remember if he said yes or just hung up. I don't remember.
Do you remember what he said though?
No, man, I don't remember at all. If I try to enunciate it, I'll probably be making something up based on all the crashing of everything going on. So I can't tell you for sure.
So one of the things that raised eyebrows initially for the public was when you gave a sermon here and you announced publicly that she had committed suicide. And you attributed it to her mental health. Why did you feel the need to come out with that at that moment?
That's a great question. So first let's discuss why I preached that morning. Is that okay? Okay, so people have been asking that. So have you ever taken any psychology classes or anything like that?
Very few.
Okay, yeah, I haven't taken any. So I would love to find a book or a psychology professor or someone that could tell me the correct response when you spend 7 years trying to keep someone alive by just taking a few pills that their family tells them not to take. Then when they don't take it, they go into a hospital, their family takes them out, and then you spend 3 months trying to get them help when their family's telling them that you're evil and the bad person. And then it finally happens, the thing that you've been dreading for 7 years and you're trying to prevent for 7 years, and it happens. I don't know what the correct response is, right? Am I supposed to stay home and cry? Am I supposed to go out with my friends? Am I supposed to go to a bar and drink? I don't know what the right thing is. Right? As a pastor, should I just get on my knees and pray? I mean, I want to die in that moment. And so the next morning, I remember thinking, okay, if I stay home, I'm probably going to kill myself. I'm probably going to just go to heaven and be with her and be done. Because I need to be around people, but I don't want to be around people and come to church if I'm not going to preach, because then I'll be judging the guy that's preaching the whole time. And I can preach just as easy as I can breathe. So I'm just going to go in the mode of what I'm normally going to do and just continue my life normally until I finally have to deal with what's going on. And so I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know the right response. I wish somebody had told me in hindsight, if I go back in time, I probably would have done the same thing and still preached. And then at the end, and the sermon was about leaving your legacy and the people you leave on earth and your memory that's being left. So I thought maybe that's God. Then I thought, you know what, Mica wouldn't want me to preach. That's exactly what she'd want me to do. She'd be telling me to do it. She'd be trying to force me to do it. So I preached. And then at the end of the sermon, when I made the announcement was made. And of course, I'm not in a clear thinking frame of mind. I mean, like, it's not like I'm, kumbaya and got it all together. I said what I said because I didn't want them to think that it was because she's a bad person, or I wanted them to know, like, if Mica does anything that's out of character, it's because of her mental illness. It's not because of her. Like, she's a wonderful woman, full of integrity. When she's on her medicine, she's black and white, does the right thing, does not like the wrong thing being done. Off medication, she's a totally different person. I didn't want them to see her as someone that was bad. I wanted them to know it's just a sickness, like if you have heart disease or if you have, diabetes or whatever, mental illness. You need medicine to continue going forward. So that's why I said that.
Also, something I found interesting in that moment, you said, before I tell you this news, I'm going to paraphrase here. I'm going to tell you this news, and I want you to leave. I don't want you to stand up and talk about it. Why?
That's a great question, and that was actually intentional, because the last thing I wanted to hear was people talking about my wife. I wanted them to go and take it to Jesus before they start, doing what some Christians like to do and just chatter, and I didn't want to experience the extra pain. I didn't want to be mad at somebody in my church because I heard them say, well, I'm not even going to guess at what somebody could have said, but I didn't want anybody to say anything negative about my wife.
Another point of concern, let's say for people watching, was when you gave a eulogy. Was something concerning. People said that was concerning that you said that you tried to raise Mica from the dead, and I believe at another point you said you laid next to her body in the morgue. Is that true?
I didn't lay next to her body. I mean, I couldn't think like next to her because her body's up on this thing, but I hugged her, and I sat on the floor, next to her and just talked to her for a while. But yeah, I tried raising her from the dead, because you know what? If it had worked, we'd have a whole different story. But God forbid me not try it, and always wanted the rest of my life. Would it have worked? Right? Jesus did it. Elisha did it. A few other people in the Bible, and so yes, if somebody I love more than anything in the world has passed away, what I believe to be an early death, you better believe I'm going to try to, in Jesus' name, raise them from the dead. I believe in healing. I believe in miracles. I believe in the raising of the dead. I'm a one God, apostolic, tongue-talking, holy, rolling, born-again, heaven-bound believer in the liberated power of Jesus' name. I'm not ashamed of it.
Did you ever question the findings that the authorities gave to you that this was suicide?
No. I mean, I'm not a detective. I watched Scooby-Doo growing up, but that's what everybody seems to be acting like, is they're part of a mystery machine. But my Lord, like, let my wife, let her be at peace. Like, she's in heaven. She's not worrying about all this stuff. Let her rest. Let her memory rest. She had suicidal tendencies over and over, year after year, off medication especially. She went to Dick's Pawn Shop before, purchased a weapon, and tried to do the same thing. She drove out in the middle of nowhere. She called 911, left a voice message. I don't really understand what else could be. But you know what? I'm not a professional, so I don't know.
In other words, it all added up to you. It made sense to you.
I mean, I'm not a detective. If she had heart surgery, I'm not going to question the heart surgeon. I don't know anything about detective work at all.
Right, but it's your wife. I mean, and them telling you her life has ended.
Are you trying to ask me if I think somebody murdered her?
Do you think anybody murdered her?
No, absolutely not. Do you think somebody murdered her?
I don't know.
What are the percentages that you think someone could have murdered her?
I don't know. It's my job as a journalist to just question.
If it were your wife and the same scenario happened, and you took care of her for 7 years, and one of the issues off medicine was suicide, and she tried to do it with a gun from the same place she got it from before, and called 911 and said she was doing it, in the same tone that she says things whenever she's off her meds, like she's ordering a pizza, right? Smiling at the Dick's pawn shop. Would you think that somebody murdered her, or would you think suicide? I don't know. I have no idea.
I'd probably, I know myself, I would question everything.
Well, then I'm glad everybody's doing all this work. I understand the Francis family has hired a detective who's doing work. I hear he's a great guy, very intelligent. I trust the detectives that's all doing their job. And I mean, in life, yeah, sometimes you just gotta trust people in areas that you have no wisdom in.
I'm gonna
Is
jump
that a good
in.
answer, or was that not a good answer? What do you
I
think?
thought it was great.
I'm jumping around here. People have been, another question people have raised is, why did you want to access Mica's apartment after her death?
That's hilarious. Because I'm her husband. I wanted to get the Bible she made for us. I wanted to get
But you were living apart, right?
Yeah, but not because either one of us wanted to, because she was mentally. One of the last things she said to me was she wants to come home. So yeah, I mean, this is there are times throughout our marriage where when she refuses to take her medicine, she would stay somewhere else because I just couldn't endanger my children and myself. And this is one of those times. But whether you're living together or a mile away from each other, the love doesn't change. And no, I wanted to get stuff to remember her by. She had a notebook filled with all of our vacations, where she wrote down all these details of our vacations. She had another diary where she wrote poems for me, which I'm sure I'll never see because the family has that stuff. But I asked them for it. But there was jewelry. She has a piece of jewelry with this little circle on it with a naked picture of me inside. I definitely wanted to get that back from them. So yeah.
That brings up a good point, the necklace. You and I texted about this and communicated. But that is Mica's necklace that you have, that you've...
Oh, you're talking about, there's another necklace. Yeah, the one that I wore in some
Yes.
interview or something. Yes, sir.
And you felt it was important to...
So the day, Sunday, she passed away on Saturday. On Sunday, I went to the hospital with my bishop, and I saw her for the first time. Her body, it's not her. I saw her body for the first time without her in it. And they handed me that necklace thing that she was wearing. It was one of her favorites. I had it made. It was the stone from our engagement ring. And so I put it on at the hospital. And I'll be honest, I forgot I still had it on the next day in the interview. But I'm glad I did because it made me feel close to her.
Have you been in touch with Mica's parents? I mean, they ultimately, essentially say, indirectly or directly, they feel that you're responsible in part for her death.
Oh, Lord have mercy. So, me nor Mica was in touch with her mom at all in any way, shape, or form. According to Mica and Mica's text, her mom molested her growing up, and that was a hard situation. Her mom, I think she's been married 7 times, so Mica had a lot of dads. And the dad that you're referring to didn't really do much with her growing up, according to Mica. And so, whatever her mom says, I don't even know. It's like a chicken in the background, so I have no idea what she's talking about or saying. She can say it if she wants to. Her dad, he's the reason actually that Mica is no longer alive. Whenever Mica had her last episode on February, I think the 5th or 6th, something like that. She went to see her doctor. She had actually had a doctor's appointment that day, and her doctor called me and said she's full out manic episode, schizophrenic. She needs to go to the hospital right away. And the doctor told me, she said, I'm filling out a paper for Mica to be able to be picked up by the sheriff and taken to the hospital. I said, okay. And the paper said that she was suicidal and she needed her medicine because Mica had not been taking her medicine. Because her family told her she needs holistic medicine and not, lithium. And so I text her family and I said, y'all, I'm paraphrasing, I have all the texts. I said, Mica's doctor called, she's suicidal. She's not taking her meds, and the sheriff's coming to get her, and she's having a schizophrenic episode. They're coming to get her and take her to the hospital so she can be healed, she can be back to normal. Well, her brother sends her a text saying, John Paul's called the sheriff, which I did, the doctor did all that, and then her sister Sierra tells her to flee the county for 72 hours so they can't get you. And then her dad tells her the same thing, says flee the county, get out of there. They're going to over-medicate you if they get you. You need to leave the county. And so she starts fleeing. And I said, what the hell are y'all? Hell's in the Bible. Hell's in the Bible. I said, what the hell are y'all telling her for? She's suicidal. She needs her medicine. So I can look on the little Apple thing to see where she's at. She's traveling all through South Carolina, in the woods sometimes. She's not answering her phone for me because her family told her that I'm the one that wants to put her on medicine. I abuse her because I asked her to take her medicine. And so she's running from everybody. And later on, I see the text messages where dad's telling her, just stay at a gas station, you'll be okay. And it's all this crazy talk. Her sister telling her to leave. The sheriff's trying to find her. According to the police report, she fled to her sister's house. And anyway, she finally makes it back. And finally makes it back the next day. The sheriff picks her up, takes her to the hospital. Her family gets her out and doesn't give her the medicine she needs. And I keep texting them. I say, she needs her lithium. She needs lithium. She's suicidal. No, they don't care about any of that stuff. Somehow her dad convinces her to get him a car, put the car loan in Mica's name, put the title in his name. And they just continue to use her like that and tell her when she's in that state, she'll believe anything from anyone that's right around her in her presence. If you tell her that artificial intelligence is coming after you, she'll believe it. And they knew that. That's part of the dependent personality disorder that she has as well, besides bipolar 1, bipolar 2, and schizophrenia. And so if her family just told her to take her medicine, she'd be alive today. As simple as swallowing a Tic Tac. That's all you got to do, and she'd be okay. And I tried, and I tried, and I tried. And I have text messages, and I have doctor's reports, and I have emails, and I have police that have tried to help, and judges, and everybody I could to try to get her to take her medicine and stay away from a gun. And for 7 years, her family fought me on this. So for 7 years, they wanted her away from me. They wanted her off medicine. And somehow they wanted her to have a weapon because her brother asked for a gun, her dad asked for a gun, they got her to ask for guns. Even her lawyer, 3 days before she passed away, sent a thing to my house saying that she needs her firearms. I spent 7 years trying to keep that away from her, trying to keep her on medicine and happy, whole, and at the end of the day, I lost.
There's a video that she filmed that we have where it's at a Honda dealership, I believe, and she says, you see you in the background coming towards her, and she says, do you want to go to jail? Leave, essentially. She filed multiple police reports saying that you were ultimately abusing and stalking her. She accused you of thrashing her tires, which is why she was at the dealership. Do you see how that video makes people believe that you are abusive?
Not at all. I actually have seen that video, and you could make it say anything you want to say, really. So the story of actually that video is a friend of mine that works at Honda texted me and said, Mike is on her way up here because she ran over something in her tire. And I said, well, I have her mail, and she needs her mail. I said, if I bring you her mail, can you just give it to her? He said, yeah, of course I will. Well, I pull up first, and then I see her pull up behind me. So I'm like, well, I'll just give her her mail. So I go to give her her mail, and something happened that night before that was very upsetting to her and I. And so she was in a threatening mood because she thought that I was out to get her because of the event that took place that the private eye actually witnessed. And,
Hadn't she asked for a restraining order, though?
No.
Never?
We went to magistrate court for a restraining order. This was weeks after this, and the judge laughed because I had videos and audios of her and I hanging out just a few days before for hours and hours and hours. And the judge said, why are you getting a restraining order? You said you're scared of him. She said, I am. And the judge said, well, what has he done? She said, well, my family says that I should be very afraid of him. And the judge said, well, you were just with him a few nights ago. And so we were together. And so then I have the paperwork where I did look at the judge and said, she's mentally ill. Can you do anything to prevent her from getting a gun? And the judge said, there's nothing I can do about that. So back to Honda. So I pulled up and she was there. So I went to give her her mail. And she said something about jail. And so then I did get mad and I said, well, I'll show the pictures of you and so on Facebook. And it was me threatening to show pictures of her that she was with the guy she was with when she was unstable and didn't know who she was.
In a letter or in an email you wrote to Mica, you apologized,
Yes.
right? You apologized for tracking her, for messing with her tires, for posting the picture. So that's all true, right?
So great question. I'm so glad you asked that actually. If I wanted to lie about that, I would just say I never wrote the letter, right? Because how can you prove that I wrote somebody's letter? There's no signature, there's no name, it's not in my handwriting. But I 100% wrote the letter. And I did it because the night that she was with me, the last night we were together for 4 hours, at one point, because the whole 4 hours I'm trying to get her to take her medicine. And then she's saying my family doesn't want me to, they don't want me to come inside the house. Maybe it's your house, come inside. So finally get to the point, she says, you know what? I'll take my medicine and I'll come home if you'll give me $10,000 and if you'll write me an apology letter. I said, what do I need to apologize for? So she started listing out some things. I said, okay, I said, I'll try my best to do that. And she said, okay. And then she handed me an apology letter that was handwritten. And some of it is normal thinking, the rest is unusual. And I said, what's this? She said, this is how I want you to write yours. I want it to be by hand, and I want you to list these things I'm mentioning to you. And so I didn't do those things you're talking about. And she said, it doesn't matter. It'll make me feel better. I'll take my medicine. So I said, okay. So then I text Reverend Randall, and I said to him, I said, Mica wants me to write an apology letter for things I didn't do, but she said she'll take a medicine if I do it. And he responded and said, don't do that. That'd be a lie. Christians don't lie. Well, I did it anyway. So my first apology letter, I just said, hey, I'm sorry for, I listed some stuff. And she sent back and said, that's not good enough. I need details of all these things I told you about. I said, okay, honey. Okay, so I wrote another one. I said, I made it sound really good. And then she sent back and she said, it needs to be handwritten the way mine is. And I was like, I said, I feel like I'm getting set up for something. And she said, and I want $10,000 to move to Africa. I said, how about this? I'll give you $1,000, and that apology letter is all you're going to get. She said, I'll think about it. And then I was actually working on a handwritten one before she passed away. But
so let me understand this correctly. The email that you wrote to Mica, apologizing for hiring a PI, tracking her, messing with her tires, and posting a topless photo of her. You wrote that, you say,
yes,
but
sir.
now you're saying that you didn't actually do these things.
I did the PI thing, but so over the years, what I've learned with her is when she's in a delusional state of mind, I have to play into it in order to get her back on medicine. So the first year or two, when she'd say something, I'd say, that's not true, that's not real. She'd get mad and blow up and, knock a hole in the wall or something like that. So then by December 2019, I think it was, we were watching TV and she just stopped and said, you're a double agent. And I said, no, I'm not. She said, yes, you are. She said, and I'm going to call the police. She said, you're a double agent, you've stolen my things, and I'm going to put you in jail. And I was like, oh my goodness, what do I do? She hadn't been taking her medicine. So I go in the bedroom and I type out a resignation letter. And I say, my name is John Paul Miller. I'm resigning from the agency. She told me I was a double agent from England. So I said, I'm resigning from the agency in England in order to marry the woman of my dreams. I'm no longer, working for your agency. Please stop calling me. I'm now married to Mica Miller. And so I actually had the door locked at the time because I was in the bedroom and she was super physical. And so I slid the letter under the door. She stopped. She said, but are you my real husband? I need proof of that. So then I slid our marriage license under the door, opened the door. She took her medicine. Everything went back to normal. So because of that incident, over the years, I've learned to play along with things sometimes just to get her wherever, she can be to take her medicine.
So just to be clear, you wrote this to Mica, but now you're saying you didn't do those things.
No, I did not slash the tire. I did not. I don't think there's a naked picture of her anywhere, ever. Anyway, I think it was just a made-up thing. And I think that her tire just got something ran over, from what I understand. I don't know. I didn't see anything. But I did hire the PI before.
She found razors, essentially. There's a different word for it, but the same type of razors on multiple occasions. But you're saying you didn't do that?
No, I did not do that. And I've never seen these razors either. Or pictures of them anywhere. Do you have pictures of them?
I do not here. I can show you. In text messages with Mica's family before she passed, you wrote, I'm coming to get my wife. I am armed and ready. In what scenario would that be an acceptable text to write?
Okay, so that was 2 years ago, I think it was. And once again, her family talks her into coming off her meds. Her sister tells her that it makes her fat, which is why she tries to lose weight when she comes off her lithium, and then it makes her slow. They told her that, and I said, honey, you can't stay here and be off your meds because you could, she tried to poison me once. I didn't want to hurt anybody. So she went over to her sister's, and on the way there, which is another city, she's calling me crying. I wish I hadn't left. I'll take my meds. I said, okay, then come home. She said, well, let me just say hey to my sisters first. So she gets to the house, and somehow her sister convinces her to stay there and not come home. And at that point, in dialogue, I said I was coming to pick up my wife, and she said, I think she said her dog or some animal she had was going to attack me. And that's where I said something like that. I was threatening to shoot her dog, which I was in a different city, and I wasn't even there, and it was just a very upsetting text.
So you weren't threatening them?
No. But you know what? I will say, I wasn't threatening them, but if somebody tries to prevent my wife from taking medicine that keeps her alive, I could see where I'd get upset enough to
Hmm.
want to punch somebody in the face. I don't mind saying that on camera. And I hope that you would do it too if it were your wife or your child or your parent, and they need this pill to stay alive. Maybe they're having a heart attack and they need a pill, and someone says, "Oh, no, you don't need that. Just go take a Tic Tac. Get something holistic." It makes you want to punch somebody, I bet.
We have a 911 call from March 27th, I believe, where you say, you tell the operator, the 911 operator, that your wife is extorting you. Tell me about that.
Let me think, because I don't want her to look bad. If I don't think that that would be something I would want to. I don't need to discuss that. I think it's unnecessary and not pertinent to the story. And I love my wife very much, and yeah.
This would have been a month before she passed.
Yeah, I think that was the. Might have been the night she'd come over to the house. It was, yeah. Yeah, she was very incredibly deluded. She thought she was acting as though she were, someone off a television show, and it was just a very unusual situation.
But it was certainly, presumably, scary enough for you to call 911.
I don't remember calling 911 and saying that. What else did I say?
I didn't. That's all I wrote down from that call.
I don't
So I'll have
remember
to
that
give
at
it to you.
Was I asking questions, or what was I doing? What was
You
the
were
purpose of
calling
the
to
call?
report it, and you wanted to figure out, if I understand this correctly, who in the what authorities can you tell this to?
Gotcha. I must have been really upset then.
Can you explain why she called authorities multiple times about domestic abuse?
Her family made her think that me highly encouraging her to take her medicine is abuse, a form of abuse. It's been like that over the years many times. They would tell her that she has a right to not take her medicine, and that's true. And I never made her take medicine, but I highly encouraged it because I knew it would save her life. And I went to the classes, and I learned from the doctors, and I sat in group therapy sessions where there are other people who are married to someone with this mental illness, and how important it is to keep them on their medicine. And so I would say, I'll take you to the mall and buy you a new outfit if you take your pill tonight. You know? Yeah, I'll take you out to eat wherever you want if you'll take your pill tonight. Yes, I would do what I could to keep her on her medicine, to save her life. And if I had been able to be successful in keeping her on her medicine, then she would be here today.
So I'm just going to give you a chance to say it cleanly, or answer it cleanly. Have you ever abused your wife?
Never, not once in any way, shape, or form. I took better care of her than anybody could ever take care of her. I never asked her to clean the house, not once in 7 years of marriage. She never had to cook a single meal. She never had to work. She was never harmed physically in any way. Verbally, I affirmed her over 20 times a day, probably over 30 times a day. I took better care of her than I have anyone. And it wasn't easy, but when she was on her medicine, it made it worth it, you know. She was the perfect wife on her medicine, the perfect wife for me. So no, she's never ever been abused, ever, not in any way by me, ever. In fact, she would brag about how well and how gentle I was with her all the time, because she grew up with some abuse, and so. And with her strong personality, I never wanted to overpower her. I never wanted to try to control her or manipulate her. I'd always let her make certain decisions, even if I knew they were not the best. I'm 15 years older, and you learn something when you're 15 years older than somebody. And so everything she'd do, ways that she would spend money, people she'd hang out with, and I knew it wasn't the best, but I'd let her learn that on her own. And we were a great team, a very good team.
During a video that was posted recently, you mentioned bringing justice to Mica, holding those responsible accountable, and then you shifted to saying the person. Do you believe there's one individual responsible for Mica's death?
Yes, I do. I believe that's her father, Michael. It's so sad the way he thinks about doctors and medicine and prescriptions and mental illness and psychiatrists, and there's no respect he has for him, no respect whatsoever. I mean, we're in society, we're taught to, from the age of 3, there are two main groups of people we're taught to trust blindly, and that is policemen, policewomen, and doctors and nurses. You can be 3 years old and a doctor comes in with a long needle and sticks it inside your leg and causes you so much pain and you scream and cry, but your parent looks at you and says, hey, it's okay, we trust them. They're here for our safety, they're here for our health. Same thing with the policeman. A policeman tells you at 5 years old to be quiet, turn around, sit down, you just do whatever the policeman says because we're taught that. And so here my wife has policemen and doctors trying to help her and save her life. And out of everyone in the world we should trust, it should be those two. And her father's telling her, run from them. Run from the policemen, run from the doctors, run from being medicated. Michael, she's been on this medicine for 7 years. It's saved her life many times. When she comes off of it, she's suicidal. You know about this. You've seen it. I've told you 100 times. And you're going to tell your daughter to come off the medicine that's going to save her life, and then as soon as she gets out of the hospital, you're going to get her to buy you a car? Like, who does that? And then he goes on videos talking about his daughter's sexual delusions that she had and something he read. Who does that kind of thing? Gets her to drain the bank account, not come home to her husband who's been taking care of her for 7 years. He couldn't even take care of her when she was growing up.
But from their perspective, she's filing police reports saying she's being abused.
They're telling her this. Listen, the things she's done when she's off her medicine is outrageously crazy. You wouldn't even imagine some of the things if I told you, and I don't want to say because I don't want her to look bad, but if you listen, okay, so we know what schizophrenia does, right? That's you're seeing things that aren't there, you're talking to people that aren't there, you believe in delusions. Then you got bipolar 1, right? Then bipolar 2, all of these, and with more things as well. Imagine taking care of somebody that has all that together, and every single day, your only job before you do anything else, before work or eat or use the bathroom or play with your kids, you got to make sure this person takes their pill because it's going to save their life. And then they go to the hospital who's supposed to help save their life, and the family takes them out of that hospital, doesn't give them the medicine that they need, and you say she's suicidal. No, she's fine. She just lost 40 pounds in 30 days, man. She's making videos saying she's abused or insinuating she's being abused, and you don't want to go take her and get her some help? Man, when my sister was being abused by her husband, I got her out of there just like that. When the guy that started Justice for Mica, Ken Young, Alicia Young, he abused his wife so many times he went to jail for it. He's the one that started Justice for Mica, which is so ironic. When he was here in this city and I found out he was abusing his wife, we got him out of jail and we went right to his home. We said, listen, Ken, you can't do this anymore. We're going to pay for you and your wife to separate, not divorce, but separate. We're going to pay for y'all to go to counseling together and apart so this never happens again. And of course, neither one of them wanted to do it. They moved away. But when someone's being abused, you go in there, that's kind of an open door for you to say, I need to get in here and help you somehow. Even then, they didn't want to help her. They didn't want to do anything for her. She's telling her dad she doesn't even know who she is in one text. She doesn't know who he is in one text. She's driving over to South Carolina. He just says, oh, be safe. Stay in a gas station. You'll be okay. Who does that? If my daughter texts me and said, either I'm being abused, or my daughter texts me and said, I don't know who I am, or my daughter texts me and said, I'm traveling around South Carolina and don't know where to go, any of those things, I would be on a plane today, go there and help her, do whatever I could, and then you'd know for 7 years she had to have medicine to stay alive. I'm not going to keep her from the medicine. If anything, I'm going to go to the doctor myself. Maybe the husband's line, okay, let's go to the doctor ourselves and find out what the doctor says to do. And the doctor will look at him and say, she needs this medicine to stay alive or she'll be homicidal or suicidal. He won't even believe him. I sent him a text from the doctor saying she's got a doctor's appointment that she's going to miss if you don't get her to her doctor. He told me to stop texting him. What else am I supposed to do? What would they find any man on earth in this situation, and let's ask them the scenarios, how would you handle this, and see if anyone handled it better than I did. I went to 2 judges. I went to policemen. I went to counselors, pastors. I went to doctors. I went to her friends and family and told them all she's got to have her medicine or she's going to commit suicide. Nobody believed me.
So what do you say to the doubters and critics who say you drove her to suicide?
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. So wait. She wasn't with me. Because listen, with me, she didn't commit suicide. Apart from me for 3 months and with her family, she did commit suicide. One of the last things she showed me a book she's reading called I Love Jesus, But I Want to Die. And I said, why do you want to die? She said, because I can't come home because my family won't let me. That's what I say to them.
People are saying that. I didn't just make this up.
Oh, I know. People say all kind of things. Man, there's so much social media crap out there and all these people that are so on their feelings, they don't use any logic anymore. It's scary. But I don't care what those people say. I don't care what a lot of them say. My life is for my family and Christians. I want non-Christians to get saved, but that's not my ministry. My ministry as a pastor and teacher is for Christians. And Christians who actually have Jesus Christ as the Lord of their life, they don't act like that. They don't get out their fat thumbs and get on social media and start gossiping and slandering and all these horrible things. And Christians don't follow Robbie S. Harvey People with logic don't do things like that. And so, them saying that doesn't bother me very much. Let them say it all they want to. They can say whatever they want to. I know that I know, and my wife knows. And that's what brings me the greatest peace in all of this, is that I know, and God knows beyond a shadow of a doubt, I took care of my wife better than any man ever could have in a million years. And that's why I have peace in the area of my marriage.
Do you feel that you did anything that you would change? Do you feel any part responsible?
God, that's a great question. Man, that's such a good question. Wow, what a good question. Can I have a second to think about it?
Sure.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. What would I do differently? Oh man. Oh, I know what I do. I know what I do. I would not involve her family when she's having mental episodes and is schizophrenic and is off her meds. I would never have texted them. I texted them because I said I think y'all want to pray for her, maybe give her a hug or a kiss before she goes to the hospital. I didn't think they'd go tell her to flee the hospital and flee the police. So she would be alive today if I had not texted her family. Hold on, let me think, make sure that's it. And of course, as a husband, I would play with her hair more. She'd always ask me to do that, or I'd wake up earlier, because she always woke up before me. I'd wake up earlier she loved going to breakfast, and I hate breakfast. I never eat breakfast, so I would have done, there's all these husband-like things I would have done different over the years if you know your spouse is going to pass away so early. I'm sure there's a lot more, but I don't want to talk about them.
I gotta figure out the right way to say this. So, one of the videos that has surfaced recently is from years ago. And I'm sure you know what it is. You're sitting face down on the ground and you're freaking out and you're talking about, you're literally squealing about being eaten by ants. You're taking the wrong meds, that you missed your family. I mean, for viewers, for people watching it, the common thought is, what is going on here, and do you have a drug problem?
So, I fell out of a tree, a giant magnolia tree. It was like 300 years old. I broke 12 bones. It was 10 to 12 bones. I don't know if you count fingers. Yeah, I didn't count fingers. Anyway, I have all this metal in my body, and I'd never taken pain meds in my life, and I just had my body cast taken off, and so I took a little bit too much pain meds that day.
That's it.
That's
Just
it.
what? Percocet?
I don't remember any of them. It was 2016, and it was like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever. And I was missing my family. My wife, Mica, and I, we started through an affair, and so we were both married to people, and then we got divorced, and I was missing my family because I'd lost my family at the time, and I was on pain meds, and just all went together. But fell out of a tree, broke a bunch of bones, took too many pain meds. That was that story.
Not hallucinogenics.
No. What would hallucinogenic be?
Make you hallucinate.
What makes you hallucinate?
Drugs.
Like illegal drugs?
Hallucinogenic drugs, yeah.
Oh, I've never done a legal drug my whole life.
Okay.
Oh! Oh, crap, that was a lie. I'm sorry, that was a lie. When I was 16 years old, one time I was in a truck with two of my friends, and they were both smoking pot. I didn't smoke any, but they do a thing called hot box, and so I got some of that. And I tried steroids one time.
In a sermon, you told congregation you were on lithium, you were battling suicidal thoughts, and you had demons. What brought you there?
So each time Micah comes off her medicine, and we go through this whole thing where I get in a fight with her family because they're the cause for it, and then she gets put in the hospital. She forgets everything that happens, all the stuff she does while off medicine, and a lot of it is very embarrassing and dangerous. Then she gets out of the hospital. She's very apologetic because she's back on medicine, and we have $20,000 in hospital bills. So after like the fifth or sixth time, I told her, I said, I can't do this. Like, you have to stay on your medicine or, something else, but I just can't handle this. And at that point, she said, I want to come off my medicine. I said, I just can't be here. Like, I'm scared for my kids and me. And so she went and stayed with somebody to try to come off medicine. And that's when I was feeling like a failure at that time. I went to a psychiatrist. I said, I feel horrible. I don't know what to do about my marriage. I want to help her. I love her. But I'm scared she's going to kill me in the middle of the night if she doesn't take her medicine. Da da da. That's where that came from. And they put me on lithium for a little bit, and she got back in. Micah got back in the meds and back in. Everything came fine again. But that's where that was from.
So both of you at some point were on lithium.
She's been on lithium for I think 7 years. I was on lithium for a few months around that time.
What about testosterone? Have you taken testosterone?
I've taken, so a few years, 2 years ago, I have my prescription in my handy dandy notebook, but yeah, they give me like lotion to put on your hands and feet. I think I used it one night and that was it. I thought it was stupid.
Has Mica taken testosterone?
She put some sort of stuff on her. Something that she loves to do, which always aggravated me, is she likes to try something different every other month. Like she'll see a YouTube video on this hair growth medicine and she'll order that. And then she'll see one on fingernails and order that. She'll see one on this. And so she read that testosterone helps her lose weight. So she had done it. Like she put it on her, whatever she did. I didn't know about it. She just told me about it. And I hated her doing those things because I kept telling her when you're on antipsychotic meds, you can't just put stuff in your body. Like you have to eat right. And I would try to help her, get enough water intake and not do all these pills, but you can't. It's hard to tell her anything. But she told me she put it on her, I think for a week or two or something like that. And then moved on to the next thing she tried.
It's my understanding that during your separation before her death, she was seeing somebody junior in your organization here. What can you tell me about that?
So the night I hired the PI, I did it for her to try to save her life. I knew something was going on, and I'd already filed for divorce because I thought, well, she wants to leave. Everybody says she's normal. Everybody tells me I'm crazy, but she's okay. And so I went to the PI and I said, I want you to put a tracker in her car, and if she goes near a gun store, call me and let me know or whatever. And he said, well, I can't. That's not a legal reason to track somebody. He says it has to be for something like marriage or divorce or like cheating or whatever. And I said, well, I guess we're getting a divorce. I said, I don't know. I said, if she's in her right mind, she's not going to cheat. And he said, well, you got to give me a name. You got to give me a name. So I said, well, there was a young guy at church that she said was harassing her, a little while ago. His name's DJ. And she said, so I said, well, I'll just write the name DJ down, if that'll help you be able to track her for a gun store, then yeah. He called 6 hours later, 8 hours, whatever it was, and he said, we called her. I said, what are you talking about? And he said, we called her with the guy you said, out on the beach. And so that's the next day, that's when I realized she's definitely psychotic, because she's not in her right mind. So that's why I withdrew my divorce. And
You withdrew your divorce?
Yeah, I withdrew it. Yeah, the very next day I went to my lawyer and I said, nope, we're not doing it. I'm not divorcing. We're done. She's lost her mind. She's not normal. This is totally something that's psychotic. She would never do this. And so I even wrote her a letter that day, and I have the letter. I mailed it to her. I said, I know what happened, and I said, this was kind of the Honda thing too, but I said, I forgive you, I love you, and I'm going to help you get back on your medicine. We're going to make this work out. And the last night I saw her, she even told me, she said, one of her phrases, she said, what I did with him makes me want to die. And so I told you I forgive you. I sent you a letter, and I said, we're all good. Don't worry about anything.
You weren't angry about that?
I mean, maybe for the first few hours.
I'm going to jump around a little bit.
Barry, can we
What-
take it a second? Everybody okay?
Yeah.
We're good. I just need to
We're
discuss
almost
one
there.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. Are you okay? You're not
Yeah.
smiling very much.
I don't smile in interviews.
You sure?
I don't.
Does it make it look like you're mad at me or something?
No. No, I just,
Are we
no.
supposed to be serious?
No.
Okay.
It's just, this is my lane, so I don't rarely smile. But
Am I okay? Are we okay?
you doing good?
Have I said anything that you think is going to destroy me?
You just tell your
No.
story.
You have to think about it for a minute.
No, I'm just trying to be honest with you. I don't think so. I don't
So if
know.
we're coming to the end, that means these are going to be the ones that are going to hurt.
No, I don't. No, I don't think so. We'll see. I don't know. They're in no particular order here. Let's talk about the tattoos.
Oh, this is a great subject.
You have a tattoo.
Okay, so here's how it works. So I hate tattoos. I think they're trashy. I don't like them, and I hate pain. I cannot stand pain. Like when I go to the dentist, I'll tell them you gotta like numb me extra, like gas me, do whatever. I don't want pain. Don't want pain. But Mica loves tattoos, and every time she gets one, she wants me to get one. And so, but I found this cream. You can order online. You wipe it on you, and you don't feel the first 20 minutes of it. So I would get like pieces of tattoos done, and she wouldn't do the cream. She would just go there and just get her tattoos. You know, she doesn't mind the pain at all. But so we both get tattoos. And so when we were dating, I was out of town, and I was in New York or something, and she got my signature tattooed on her side.
You didn't ask her to do that?
No, not at all, not at all. And she sends me a picture. She's like, I got a surprise for you. And I was like, Mica, why would you do that? I said, we're only dating. She's like, I love you and I want to marry you. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, then I broke up with her a few weeks after that, and she got it covered up with a lotus flower, which you could still see the signature underneath. And then we got married, and 2 years later, she got the signature again on the other side. And she had begged me for years to get hers, and I finally found that cream and started getting tattoos, and so I got hers. And she also got she got a lot of tattoos, but she just recently, right before all this happened, she got her wedding band tattooed around her finger, really thick, and she went. I even told her not to do that. I even have text messages where I said, "Don't do that." I said, like it's so thick, it's going to come outside of your beautiful wedding band. It's going to look kind of trashy. I told her, I'm doing it anyway, and you can't tell her anything. And so she got the tattoo of her wedding band, and I got her name tattooed.
Did you have life insurance on Mica? And no? No life insurance.
No life insurance.
Why not?
Because she's 30 years old.
Okay. All right.
What? Do people get life insurance for their spouses when they're 30, 40? We don't even have health insurance.
Well, that's a whole separate ballgame.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, Dare to Care mission.
Oh, this is such a good subject.
Many people out there are saying right now, you precisely are not the guy to be asking for funds for a project associated with Mica. How do you respond to that?
Okay, so, oh my Lord, people are so evil. Okay, so, I'm not a missionary guy. I don't do missions. I like local stuff, right? But Mica, she always wanted to do missions. And so over the years, I'd take her on some missions, and we'd be in the hot jungles of Jamaica, and she would be loving it, and I'd be like, please get me back to the hotel. I can't stand this. And she loved it. So last year, she went with Reverend Randall, who's the overseer of our church, and he has his own missions in Africa. We partnered with him. And he took it. We sent a team to Africa for the church there and the people. And there's hundreds and hundreds of HIV positive children who are orphans. They literally live in the woods underneath these big rocks all over, And Mica was part of the team. Man, when she comes back, I pick her up from the airport, and she is like, she found her calling. She was beside herself. She said, we need to start a school for the kids, make it about the kids. And I said, baby, we can't start a school in Africa. That's impossible. You got to find a building. You got to get teachers. There has to be curriculum taken there. Some of these kids need clothes. I said, and who's going to pick them? It's just not going to work. She's like, I'm going to make it work. And so she spends the next month or two, and she starts calling the people in Africa, Pastor Jumba, working with his team, his wife, everybody. She gets the teachers lined up. She gets she starts making the T-shirts, Dare to Care missions. She lines up the person who's going to bring the food every day, right? So because kids aren't going to walk miles and miles out of the woods just to be taught something. They need food too, especially these orphan kids. And so they're coming out, and she has someone to cook for them, and she has the location, the building. She has the whole thing worked out. And I'm like, how much is it going to cost? She said, it's going to be about $500 a kid. Well, so a lot of missions around the world, the way they do it is when you sponsor, a mission, the money also goes towards sending the missionaries, right? Because you have to send people there to do the work. Mm-hmm. Well, the way ours works is we don't do that. We pay for those people. We pay for the missionaries, and you just pay for the kid, their food, their clothes, and their school, their curriculum. And so we got it down to $300 a kid. It's actually around $320, but we pay that. But anyway, so $300 a kid, and it worked out. And so she was so excited. This was like her calling to do this for the rest of her life. She was so excited about it. And so we sent a team a few months ago. We were expecting, Mica said, we're hoping for 50 to 80 kids, right? This is right before she went to the hospital. She was so excited about going. But anyway, and we had 350 kids. 350 kids. And these kids, it's not like the parents are bringing them. They're literally walking for miles and miles and miles. and they're all got the same shirt. Some of them have never seen bubbles before. We got food feeding them. We got the curriculum, all that stuff, and we were doing like a practice run. That's what we were doing months ago. So the real school was supposed to start this August, right, with all these kids, and we had no idea we were going to have this many. No idea. And you can't help everybody, but you can help somebody, you know. And so we can't help every child in Africa, but we can help all these kids in this area of Gibraltar that walk here. Well, because of Robbie Stinky Harvey and a lot of people like him, we're not going to be able to feed all these children. So I actually want to take pictures of these children and send them to him and say, you choose which ones we don't feed because of the work that you're doing against us. Same thing with the school and the kids in our school at Faith First here who aren't going to be able to come to a secure school where they're not bullied because of the posts and the things he's doing. I want to send pictures of those kids to Robbie Stinky Harvey and say, here's this child that's going to have to go back to public school and be bullied because of the lies and defamation that you're doing. And anybody who wants to know about this mission, they can talk to Reverend Charles Randall, who's in charge of the whole thing. He oversees me. He oversees Pastor Jumba in Africa, the whole work. And more money than what you give goes there. If you give like $300 for a child, we actually spend more than that to send the missionaries and do the work to make sure it's always above and beyond.
How much have you raised and how much have they received?
It was under 10,000, but we ended up spending like 20-something thousand. Yeah.
So how much has Pastor Jumba received?
Well, he's in charge of it, so according to, in other words, how much has he spent of the money? Because we do it through Charles Randall.
Yeah.
And he sends it over there. But when he sends it, we hire the teachers and we pay for the stuff, but all of it. So let's say if 9,000 to 10,000 has been given, we have put out over 20,000. So we put out twice as much as what's been given.
Somebody had said something online that he hadn't received any money.
I just talked to him yesterday. I talked to him every other day. He says they're lying. He says that the Francis family keeps trying to call him and he refuses to answer their phone because of the way they are.
All right.
And I bet if you want to, actually, you should talk to Reverend Randall and he'll put you through to Jumba and you can ask any question you want to ask. Jumba just said that was my last hurrah with Mica too, by the way. I have a list of all the things I did the whole time she was away from me to try to get her back in her medicine. And the last hurrah was I paid for Pastor Jumba to fly here to America because she loved him so much, and that was like she just saw him as this great pastor. He spent 4 days with her trying to get her back on her meds, and the last thing he said to me was, I think I got it. I think in a few days she'll be back on her meds and everything's going to be okay. She's asking to come back home. She wants to be restored. It's her family that's stopping her, and that was the last hurrah I gave. And that was him. And he flew back to Africa, and then he was told just a few days later that she had passed away.
Once Mica filed for divorce, why not just let her leave? Why bother with the PI, tracking devices, the tires, the whole thing?
And I knew she was off her meds. On her meds, she would never do that. And off her meds, she's going to commit suicide. I don't care if it's my enemy. If it was Robbie Stinky Harvey, right, and I had a way that I thought I could save his life, I would do it, even if he doesn't like me. I don't care.
But in one of her videos, she made a reference to, I believe it's you, saying forcing someone to take meds against their will. She gave the impression very clearly in that video that she did not want to be taking these meds.
Yep. Have you ever known a bipolar or schizophrenic person?
Yes.
I'm told from every support group I've been to that when they're on their meds, when everything's going great, they think, I don't need these anymore. You think, no. The reason you're thinking that is because you're on your meds, right? And then when you come off your meds, they really have no idea what's going on. So the hardest thing to do, out of every disease someone could have, right? Heart disease, lung disease, whatever those things are, hardest one is a mental disease because your mind is what you need to take the medicine to help your mind stay healthy. So if your mind's unhealthy, how are you going to believe anything that you're thinking? That's why Mica needed a support team. She needed her family to support her and say, hey, your doctor says you need this. And this is what's kept you alive. And your husband says you need this. And even when she's on meds, she told her family, I need these meds. So they didn't even believe what she said. So yes, when she's off her meds, she says things that are very delusional. That's just part of the disease.
Last month, June 11th, I believe it was, you filed a petition to have court records sealed. Why?
I don't know. My lawyer just told me that they're going to do that, and I said, okay. Or they suggested, or whatever the right phrase is. I don't know about all that stuff.
Different type of question here. I'm not even sure how to ask this, but we've seen you dressed as Spider-Man in videos.
Okay, let me just wait, hold on. I'm not Spider-Man.
In your text to me, it says Spider-Man as the person who's texting me. So we've seen you in videos dressed as Spider-Man. We know there's a Spider-Man character in your back of your house somewhere. Her family wonders if you have identity issues and this need to align with superheroes. What's your reaction? And what's the reason for the Spider-Man?
Well, first of all, I can neither confirm nor deny that I've ever put on a Spider-Man costume. But you'll never see me in the same room as Spider-Man, I will say that. And I don't know, people say stuff. Me and Michael would go
So you don't get in the Spider-Man costume?
Yeah.
I mean, you just sent me a picture with you and Spider-Man and
Yes,
Michael.
me and Michael would go to Comic-Cons every year. We both dress up. Micah dressed up more than I did, actually. There are times I didn't dress up and she did. We love that kind of stuff. She was Wonder Woman, she was Spider-Woman, she was Mystique, she was a lot of different characters.
So you're not even going to grant that there's something odd here?
No, I'm not. No. I put on the Spider-Man costume. I go see handicapped children. I'll go visit kids that love comic books and they're handicapped, and I'll pretend like I'm Spider-Man, and I'll take them a comic book and do videos with them and stuff like that. So that's that. We use it for that in Comic-Con.
But why, when you text people, do you text people as Spider-Man?
Where does it say? Where does it show me as Spider-Man? You mean as my contact?
Yeah.
You mean the picture Spider-Man, but it says John Paul?
Comes across as Spider-Man.
Send me that text. I don't know. Well, that's hilarious. Oh, I just changed that in that phone because I'm getting a bunch of weird people texting me all over the world, and they always ask, "Is this John Paul?" So when I text back, "Who is this?" I don't want it to show John Paul.
Got it.
Yeah, sorry. I can't believe you asked about Spider-Man. That's hilarious.
It's not just me. People are asking when
People
they see
are
it.
funny, yeah.
We
do. Oh, we also need Mike to dress up here at church, for our festivals. Yeah, so do Wonder Woman, I'll do Spider-Man, and we'll talk to whatever.
So, overarching question that I think a lot of our viewers have asked is that your behavior since before and after her death does not align with the behavior of a pastor. How would you respond to that?
Oh man, before I became a pastor, I studied every world religion, and there were so many gaps. There were so many things you had to do to get to nirvana, or ways you had to act, and all this kind of stuff. And the interesting thing about Christianity is, it's the only sect on earth that's all about what God did to get to us, and that I get to go to heaven not because I'm perfect, but because Jesus is perfect. And so I rely on his righteousness, not my own. So you know what? I got problems, man. I'm not the greatest, most perfect pastor in the world, but I love Jesus with all my heart, and I'm good at being a pastor. I'm thankful for the gift, and so even though people may think I'm not good enough, it's not going to stop me from helping people.
Has this affected your church here?
I think about this. In the Bible, Noah was called a righteous preacher, which means he preached exactly what God wanted. Yet nobody came to his church. He could barely get his family to get on board, So sometimes we see success or unsuccess in churches based on the numbers. I don't see it that way. I see it based on, am I doing what God wants me to do? And if so, the people here are supposed to be here. And true Christians, the ones that, Jesus is the Lord of their life, they're not moved by social media. They're not moved by the news. They're not moved by what they hear somebody else say about somebody else and the gossip and the slander. They're not moved by that. They stand on the word. They believe the best, because the Bible says that love believes the best. And, and so I'm not fazed so much at church as people may think. I have a strong support system here, and if we're going to keep helping people, no matter what. So that's our mission, to help people.
One of your support staff was just arrested for spraying protesters here.
He's not staff. That's such a good point, though. Let's talk about that.
So one of your confidants
I shouldn't
here.
Smile so much, should I? Okay, so you're asking about the water sprayer guy.
Yeah.
The water sprayer guy. So funny. So the protesters, they're not really protesters. Like, there's maybe 2 or 3 protesters. The rest are not protesters. The rest are just people trying to stop Americans from worshiping Jesus, which goes against everything we believe and goes against the foundation, constitution of our whole nation. And they're trying to harass and scare, put fear in the hearts of old ladies and young children, and try to get them to stop coming to church. And so Robert, my friend, he went out there, and it's so sad that I think those 5 people must suffer from aquaphobia, because as soon as the water touched them, even though they said in the video, thank you, it feels good, as soon as it touched them, they said that was assault. And so God forbid they take a shower, they would probably sue the plumber for murder. But yeah, I can't believe that bothered them. They're out there sweating bullets, and a little bit of water gets on them, and they think somebody assaulted them. Hilarious. Which shows you it's not about justice for Mica. It's not about peaceful protest. It's about trying to shut down a church and shut down worship, which is so evil. And I hope the city really starts doing something, because it's going to happen all over our nation. I had a really wise man tell me 10 years ago that 20 years from now, America's not going to be able to worship Jesus. I said, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Here we are 10 years later, and it's true. In this city, they're trying to stop people from worshiping Jesus. One little old lady almost had a heart attack because one of the protesters jumped in front of her car and started hitting her car. There's Satanists out there.
But is it a Christian thing to spray them with water?
Put some water on them for
Call it what it
them
is.
from worship.
There's a reason he was arrested.
The reason he was arrested is because they said that it was assault. That's why he was arrested. But putting some water on them, I don't condemn it. I don't condone it.
Question I want to ask is, there's a lot of people following this case and obviously trying to talk to you. What does the world have wrong about you? Because a lot of people think that you are in some way connected to her death. They'll say,
well, that's wrong. I'm the only one to try to keep her alive. That's completely, totally wrong. All I can say is that's wrong. I'm the one that tried to keep her alive every day since the day we got married, and it's even when she was away from me. I'm trying to keep her alive. I did everything a human being could do. I couldn't. If you see the list of everything that I did and all the people I went to, all the information I got to try to help her stay alive, you would be amazed. So yeah, people definitely got that wrong.
Her family says they regret that they cremated the body so quickly. They felt a pressure to cremate the body quickly. Do you have anything to say about that?
What is quickly? How long should someone's body be there before something's done? I was told 3 days. They waited 6 days. But they could have waited longer. They could have done whatever they wanted to. Me and Mica, we talked about death often. I wrote a book on heaven and hell, and we talk about it. And neither one of us care much about the body. Like cremation, but whatever you want to do, we don't care. And so she would say the same thing, that like when I die, give my body to science if you want to. And we gave her eyes away. Someone has her eyes. I did that. She was happy about that, I'm sure. But no, her family could have done whatever. I didn't, I was sending them sweet texts telling them that I'll pay for whatever they want to get at the funeral home, and they can see the body anytime. And,
Does it bother you that her body was found, something like 40 yards away from where there were 2 spent shell casings, not one?
No, she often said in times past if she ever did this, she would do it near water so that she wouldn't survive. She would want to drown it. She tried it, it didn't work. And one other time when she tried it the same way, the bullet got lodged, and then she moved the gun away and it shot off when the neighbors came out, running and grabbing her. So I'd imagine she tried to make sure the gun works. Again, you have to imagine she wasn't depressed in this moment. Like, she was euphoric. She wasn't thinking, oh, life's horrible. She wasn't thinking, which this brings me peace, because I know this about her. I know what happens when she gets this far into the mental illness. She wasn't, thinking, I hate my life. She was thinking, oh, this is a great idea. This is what my mind's telling me to do. That's how psychotic that those diseases are. And so, I assumed that she just wanted to make sure the firearm worked first, I guess. I don't know.
several months. I think it was
Can I
2
stand up
months.
one more time? Am I allowed to stand up for a second?
Yeah,
please?
yeah.
Sorry. Oh,
We're
man.
basically done.
Yeah, no, you said that last time. I want to think if there's anything I want you to ask me. Can I think about something for a minute?
Please.
Okay. Gosh. What's the time so far? How much time you said?
It's
We can go as
3:14.
long as you need, but
Then you only can use some of it, I know. Hold on, there was something.
we're gonna try and use a lot of it.
So I did the protesters, I did the Dare to Care.
Do you want me to ask him, or you
I don't care anymore.
want to text him to me?
Let me, wanna.
There's like 2 more questions.
Oh my gosh! Ugh. I'm just looking at my handy dandy notebook and see if there's- I'm sure when you leave, I'm gonna send you some really great stuff to ask me. Medical examiner's report. Payment send off.
So I just want to be clear, because I'm even confused about it. You were not tracking her
No.
at the time of her death.
No.
You made a decision to stop tracking her when?
I can look at the private eye report, and I wasn't tracking her at all. The private eyes are doing the tracking.
Well, you hired them.
Right, but they don't tell me like, oh, she went to the mall. You know, it's not that kind. That's illegal. I don't know. I don't know. They just don't do that kind of stuff. So they're the ones doing the work. Maybe that'd be clear because I think it's illegal to track. Maybe well, it's not if you're married. But anyway, I wasn't doing it. That was them doing it.
Well, I think, I don't know. People would, I don't know what the legality is of it, but if you're tracking her and she goes places or across state lines, that might be there might be different laws around that.
Either way, they stopped like 3 or 4 weeks before.
Have you spoken to any federal authorities?
Not at all. Nope.
There's
The family told her to steal it.
There's a lot of chatter that they were investigating. There's an investigation into the finances of this church.
Right. That's
What do you-
all great. We have great financial stuff. That's all Robbie Harvey crap, man. He puts out so much crap. I can't believe people listen to him. It shocks me. He makes up stuff as each day goes on.
In terms of the tracker, how did you track her?
I hired private eye and they put tracker on her car.
Well, like what did they say? It was like a
Well, there's
tracker
like
on
an
her
agreement
car?
or something. You sign like agreement and they put a tracker on her car. And then at the end of the day, they tell you where, if she went to the gun store.
And you never followed up on them? They said, hey, she's at Bridgestone Fire or Tire Clinic. You can meet her there.
No. No. No, I knew she was at Honda because my buddy texted me and told me she's coming up there. I think I kind of covered everything. I know as soon as you get on the plane, it'll be like, oh man, I can't believe we didn't.
So I met with the fisherman at length for
I don't even know what
Talk
that means. What do you have to do with it? Who was it? What do you do?
He was essentially, from all the information I know, at the very least, he was an ear witness to Mica's death. He heard gunshots, and then he found her bag that had her license and money in it, and he left the scene, left the state park with her bag, returned back, and then gave it to authorities.
Why do you leave it?
That's a
Just
good
for a
question.
fact, you're just hearing this.
What? No, he told me this.
Oh, you talked to him.
He told me this verbatim.
Why did he leave the state park?
It's a good question. He said he didn't know. He wanted to go get a light for a cigarette.
With her bag?
Yep.
Well, that's
Doesn't
weird.
that information give you a little bit of pause?
I guess he's trying to steal something from her? Steal money?
I don't know, but it would seem. I mean, if this were my wife,
Why would he bring it back?
I would imagine that I would be wanting to get every answer out of that person possible.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it hurts worse to hear all these AI rumors and fisherman rumors and stuff. I feel like it makes the pain drag on. I don't know. I'm not a detective, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know at all how to feel about that or what to think about it. And I love telling you what I think, and I don't have anything to think.
Do you own a gun?
Yes,
You ever used it?
only in shooting ranges.
Did it surprise you to learn the type of gun that she bought to take when she took her life?
I don't know what type of gun, and if you said it, I wouldn't even know what that meant.
Have you looked at the details of what type of gun she shot?
No,
Okay.
I assume it was a pistol.
Um,
And my guns are in a safe. Safe that she never, ever, ever had the combination to. Ever. There was ammunition on the ground that she tried to grab when the police were in the house. But that's it. But even if you told me the name of the gun, Beretta or whatever you would say, I don't know what that would mean.
it was just a comment that her family said this is not a gun that you would buy. You would not spend $550 on this gun to take your own life. You wouldn't need a gun.
Okay, when her
Like
family
that.
says stuff like that, let me tell you why that's the most idiotic. They still don't get it. She was mentally ill. If she ordered a pizza beforehand, if she made an appointment to get her hair done, if she drove backwards on the way there, well, this isn't normal. That's what you do when you're not on lithium for 3 months and you're mentally ill and you have schizophrenia, bipolar 1, bipolar 2. Like listen, mental illness is in the blood. That's why every time you go to the doctor, they say, is there anybody in your family that has this disease, and mental illness? Mike, I would have to check. Yep. I mean, out of all of them, there's got to be some more mental illness in there.
So in your opinion, your knowledge of everything, she was mentally ill, and this is what caused her death.
100%. No, sorry. She was mentally ill, and her family would not let her come home to get her medicine. Is what caused her death. She could still be mentally ill, take medicine, and not have killed herself. It's not the mental illness. It's not the disease. It's the fact that her family stopped her from getting help for the disease. That her family had her sign out of Waccamaw Mental Health, which is a great place that helped her all these years. That her family didn't bring her home when she got out of the hospital. That her family told her to run from the police when the doctors needed to help her. That's what caused her death. It's so black and white. I cannot believe how black and white it is on why she passed away. And I feel like I'm the only one in the world that understands it.
Shortly after her death, shortly after Mica's death, I was here in town interviewing people. I interviewed a waitress who says that she came into contact with you and you had asked for her number. You guys exchanged texts. It was her position that you were asking her for inappropriate photos. Did that happen, and what do you have to say about it?
If it did happen, there's times where her and I, Mike and I, were separated, and I would do things that weren't the most integrous things. Yes. Only when we were separated.
After her death, though.
After her death?
Yeah.
No. Not at all.
So before her death, while you were still together,
Separated. Micah even had a separation agreement drawn out that said we could date other people. And she was in Kansas seeing somebody, and I sent some texts I shouldn't. Not perfect.
so what is the one thing that, when you go to sleep at night, or
I knew you were going to get that question. I knew he was going to get that question right. I'm sorry, baby.
what's the one thing that troubles you most? Keeps you up
I
at
mean, you
night?
ask good questions. You ask such good questions that really make me think. Oh, man. Okay, so I go to bed. I spray her perfume all through the bedroom. I put some of her clothes in the bed. I lay there. And I think about. It's not like, so here's what bothers me. It's not rocket scientists to help somebody who's mentally ill take their medicine. And I think about how upset Mica is if she sees all this. I know you can see earth from heaven. We learn that in the Bible several places. I don't know what her perception is of what's going on or what she really cares about, but if it's the Mica I know, She would be furious at these people who call themselves protesters. She would be furious. She had to cut her family off so many times over the years for this very thing. So the thing that keeps me up at night is that my wife would be a wreck if she knew that her family kept her away from me and away from her medicine. She'd be a wreck if she knew that people saying justice for Mica was started by somebody who beat his wife and they're taking the money and not giving it to her kids in Africa. I'm laying in bed at night thinking that my wife served this church for years and years and years, and people like Robbie S. Harvey are coming against it. And the school, she was so proud of our school here, and kids that would come in here and tell us their stories of how they were abused in public school. One was even raped in the public school by other kids, and we try to get them here. We get them here for free if we have to. And now because of Robbie S. Harvey and people like that, some of that stopped, and my wife would be so upset, and that's what keeps me up at night. That if her family had just taken mental illness seriously, just listen to her doctor, just listen to me, and she'd be here today.
Would you characterize your relationship with Mica as healthy?
Oh man, when she was on her medicine, we had the greatest marriage you could ever imagine. We spent every day together. I don't know any other couple that spent every day. So we wake up, well, she'd kind of wake up before me, but we'd go work out together every day, 5 days a week. We'd eat lunch together every day. We would work together every day. We'd pick up the kids, do stuff with the kids every day. We'd go to dinner every night together. Then every night we would have our routine. So there's 3 things we would do. We'd either sit in the bathtub together for 2 hours until the water went from steaming hot to ice cold. She bought this big air mattress we'd put in the back of the truck, and we'd go park somewhere here in Myrtle Beach where there's no lights. And she'd bring us some hot chocolate, and we'd lay on the air mattress for 2 hours. Or we would go out on the beach with our beach blanket and lay there for 2 hours. But the point was, no cell phones. Just her and I. She would talk 90% of the time. I would talk 10% of the time, and I would just listen. And so every night, 2 hours, we'd hang out together. And so was our marriage healthy? It's probably as healthy as any other American marriage, especially considering that she suffered from a disease that needed to be managed daily and affected everything around her. I mean, there'd be times I'd come home and every single thing in the whole house would be out of the cabinets. I mean, everything in every room out of the drawers. And I'd say, what are you doing? It's like, I'm cleaning out the cabinets. I was, okay. And then she wouldn't put it back. She'd think that it just needs to stay out like that. And we'd deal with that. Or I'd come home and, she would want to, she's making appointments to jump out of a plane with no parachute or something like that, just something. But yeah, considering that, we did have a healthy marriage. As healthy as we could possibly make it.
In reporting here, we hear a lot of different things, many of them that we just let go. One of the things, talking to people that know you, said, and they were too afraid to say their name or say this on the record, but they said, look, John Paul is in with a bad group of guys, and there's drugs involved, and they have ties to that region up in North Carolina.
I feel like we're watching, it's like an episode of the A-Team or Knight Rider, or something. No, that's not true at all. That's not even remotely true. No. I don't know what to say. I don't know anybody in North Carolina. I don't know any drug people. I wouldn't know if you showed me crystal meth or cocaine. I wouldn't know the difference, other than something may I've seen on TV, I guess. I watched Breaking Bad before. That's the closest I come to that, watching Breaking Bad.
When you look ahead, 1, 2, 3 years, what does your life look like?
Well, I feel like God's going to restore. I have faith that God will always restore what the enemy has stolen. And I'm going to try my best to get healthy and not blame Mica for any of this. I'm going to mourn my wife, and I don't like being alone, so if I ever do date or anything, it better be somebody that does not mind me talking about Mica a lot and looking at family videos a lot and doesn't mind me having her name tattooed on my side. But I believe that God's going to restore. He's going to heal me, bring health to my soul. I believe He's going to protect the church. and, just move forward.
Sierra Francis has told me that Micah said to her many times that if I end up with a bullet in my head, it was JP. What's your response?
Micah didn't trust Sierra. She didn't like Sierra, and I have texts that prove he's told Sierra to get out of our life many times. And I have text messages where Micah says that Sierra is lying about things, and that Sierra would take out her abuse with her husband, who she divorced, remarried. And we try to tell Micah she's being abused by me, asking her to take her medicine. And so I would believe a fart before I believe what Sierra Francis says.
If there's one thing that you want viewers to take away from this or to hear from you, what is it?
Okay, so do I look at this camera or do I look at you?
Look at me.
Okay.
Look wherever.
It's difficult saying that, but okay, I'm gonna look at you. Okay, so here's my thought on everything that's gone on. I had no idea the world was like this. I had no idea. Like, I like to think, I'm a feeling kind of guy, but I like to think logic. And the way the world has viewed this is similar to if Trump and Biden, right? There's gonna be a presidential what do you call it when they answer questions?
Debate.
A debate, right? And so Biden's up there and Trump's not there. And it's just Biden. And they ask him questions and they say, what do you think about Trump? And Biden says, here's what I think about Trump, da, da, da. And Trump's not even there. And then after it's over, you ask all the American viewers, who are y'all voting for? And everybody says, we're voting for Biden. You say, why are you voting for Biden? Well, I saw the debate and he did a good job and he told us how horrible Trump is. And you would say, well, don't you want to hear from Trump? Like, don't you want to hear what he has to say? Don't you want to ask him questions? No, we already heard all about Biden. Biden told us what to think about Trump. There's a lot of morons out there that would do that. And they'll just vote for Biden. And I'm just using these two as an example. Not that I care. I mean, I would vote for Reagan personally. But anyway, and so a lot of people are like, well, let's just vote for Biden because he says Trump sucks. You know, sucks isn't in the Bible. And I probably shouldn't say that, but it doesn't matter. And so that's what a lot of people are doing with this. And I was amazed. I thought, how can they believe the Francis family? These are such huge lies. And it's not like a lot like I'm holding a soccer ball and you'd say, what are you holding? And you'd think, well, he's holding a little basketball. You can see how you get it mixed up. But if you ask the Francis family what's he's holding, they'll be like, he's holding a grenade and he's going to blow up an orphanage. And that's how big the lies are. And people believe this stuff and they hear it. Not Christians, because I believe there's no Christian in the world that would believe something without any proof and without hearing the other side, according to Proverbs 18:2. But anyway, and so I want to tell the world, stop believing just one thing, especially when there's no proof. Wait and ask questions to both sides before, and don't go out and vote for president if you're that kind of person. If they thought that Francis were telling the truth and that I'm all this horrible, horrible person, please don't go vote, because they need the wisdom to listen to both sides. And you know what? Don't believe me, because I say it. Believe the proof when it comes out. And use some logical thinking. 2 + 2 = 4. I can show you that. Stop thinking 2 + 2 = 5 just because you feel it, TikTok and social media, it's all about feelings. Everybody's all 90% of it is feeling. Use some brain a little bit. That's my thoughts.
Any other questions that I'm not asking?
Do you want to ask about the lawsuit at all? Or?
What do you hope? Where does the lawsuit stand? Where do the lawsuits stand? And what do you anticipate the end result?
I was told that my lawyer asked me I can't talk about that stuff. Yeah. And I don't even know the answer. I guess I hope that I win. I don't know. I trust my lawyers. I have the best lawyer. Russell B. Long, greatest lawyer. Man, he's so courageous. He's passionate. He cares about people. He's a great lawyer. We have him as a lawyer for the church as well. And he's awesome.
Fair to say, though, that the area where we're even sitting here at Solid Rock is now part of the suit.
Oh, that's just ignorant. They're just trying to. So Regina B. Ward. You can put that mess up there. I said it there. I thought it was a little bit funny. I'll tell you what the B stands for later. Regina B. Ward. She just looks for things. She went against a politician. She's just trying to find ways. She's taking all this money they're getting for justice for Mica, and they're giving it to Regina, and Regina's just taking that money and thinking of things she can do with it. I'll go against the church. Well, I don't own the church. In fact, I got pretty much kind of let go, but I don't own it. It's a 501(c)(3). It's not mine. You can't, come after the church for Mica, and then, well, I'll go after. My wife passed away, and the Francis family's trying to divorce me, and they're trying to get money, and they're not even doing what Mica wanted, even in Mica's delusion when she wrote out the things in the divorce or the separation, whatever it was. The Francis family changed the whole thing because it's not justice for Mica, it's justice for Sierra. That's what they want, justice for Sierra. Woo!
So, it just occurs to me though, if you feel like you've done nothing wrong, right?
Yeah.
Why have you been stripped of your ministry here?
Man, 'cause I need to heal. Done nothing wrong. I've had hell come against me, and I need to. I mean, I'm in counseling. I've got friends I meet with each week and pastors, and I got to focus on taking care of me in the middle of this. I need to get through all this crap that Regina is bringing against us with the Francis clan. So yeah.
Other areas, things that you want to talk about?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you help me understand something? If you were so afraid, if you were afraid, right, of Mica getting a gun, why would you own a gun?
I mean, it was in a locked safe that she had no combination to at all. And I believe in the right to bear arms. It's not if you're mentally ill, but she was protected. I mean, it's an $800 safe that she has no combination to, never could. Plus, I know when she gets to that point. There was a time where I took all of them out the safe and took them to a friend's house somewhere else. I knew she was off her medicine. I wouldn't even keep it in the safe when she's off her medicine. Yeah, and plus for protection for ourselves. But
And the other thing, just to get clarity on, is you said they tracked her to with a man, but you already filed for divorce, so that's not cheating. Why did you take the divorce out the next day?
because she would never do that if she was in her right mind. Yeah, she would never. My wife would never ever. My wife's integrity was so high when she was on her medicine, and so I thought she's off her medicine. And everyone's like, no, she's fine, she's fine. I thought, well, she's losing weight. No, she's fine. And she's saying she wants a divorce and all this. I said, okay, I'll give her what she wants. If she wants a divorce, I'll divorce. And I went and got the paperwork. And then when she was with the other guy, I knew in that moment I knew she's not in her right mind. She's off her medication, and I'm not going to leave her on her husband. So I removed the divorce and I started working on getting her medicine to her.
So she wanted the divorce, but you filed.
I mean, she said it. I don't really remember, actually. That's a good question. I don't remember.
Do you remember why you wanted a divorce?
I remember I was so sick of her family doing this over and over. Now more medical bills. It happens over and over and over again. I told her if this happens one more time, I'm done. And then it happened one more time, and I wasn't done. And then it happened one more time, and I was done. Then it happened one more time. I can't take it anymore. Like I can't have my children there when she's off her medicine. I just can't. And I'm not choosing my children over my wife. I'm choosing for my wife to take her medicine. But if she won't do something and it's endangering my children, I can't have them in the same place.
I know your first wife has filed for
Oh, I can't say
custody.
more about her or anything. Can't say
Well, it
anything
involves
about
your children. She's asking for you not to have
I can't
custody.
say anything about that at all. Not anything. Like I'm not allowed to say any. I can't even say I was married before. I'm not saying I was married before. Okay. And I text that to both of y'all.
Yeah, we can still ask.
But I texted it to you though.
No, I know.
You shouldn't ask that.
I thought it was slightly different. So, but it's
I can't
okay.
even mention I have kids. That's why I can't say who I was with in Charleston.
Got it. I think.
I can tell you some of the crazy stuff people are saying if you want to know, which I don't care what the crazy stuff is. But
Here, one more question.
Okay.
I've seen emails and text messages purportedly from you where you are offering to pay people to dig up dirt on online.
okay, yeah, I'll tell you.
Folks,
Yeah.
What's going on
That
there?
was this lady, she called, it wasn't dirt, so this lady that called, that's so funny, I have the real text messages, she actually took stuff out of it, and I put the real stuff on a TikTok. True Crime Re is someone I trust on TikTok, and
that's not you, by the way.
yes, I don't have social media. Everybody thinks there's these different social medias of me everywhere. I don't have it. I don't have Facebook, I don't have the Talk, I don't have the Instagram, or whatever other ones are, I don't have them. But True Crime Re is great, and so, that's not me, by the way. What was the question?
Did
Oh,
you
yeah,
pay?
oh, yeah,
Did you
yeah,
pay
yes.
to dig up dirt?
No. So we're doing all these defamation suits, right? My lawyer's like, all these defamation suits. And this one lady texted me, she said,
Who are you suing?
oh, I don't want to live that. It's a long list, though.
For defamation for
Slander and defamation. Yeah, I'm not doing the work the lawyers are, but anyway, and that'll be out soon. But anyway, and so this lady said, well, I'll help you with all the social media stuff because there are these people that say these things about you. And I said, so you'll get they have a video, you'll put the amount of time, you'll do all this. Yeah. That's okay. Then the lady said she needed money for a truck or something, so our church gave her $350 to help fix her truck. And I said, you know what, if you do a good job at this, at getting these things for defamation and slander, I said, this is what the lawyers are doing. You can help the lawyers. I'll pay you $350 a person. Well, anyway, she didn't do the work, and it kind of blew up, and so then she started showing false texts all over the place that were lies. But I have the real ones if you want to see them.
I think we,
I have one.
yeah.
Clarity, just so everybody watching has clarity of your timeline for the tracker, right? You said they put the tracker on, but you met with her for the last time about a month, right? Before she took her life. But you said, you took it off because people were telling you she was better. But you said when you saw her, you could tell she was not better. That she said, if I die, this is how. So why take the tracker off?
I was running out of money big time. Like running out of down to $300 left kind of thing. And it costs money to hire a PI. And two, I was told by my authority I need to stop, take it off and just trust God.
Did she know you tracked her in the past?
Oh yeah. You mean in this season of life?
Yes.
Yeah, I told her. Yeah, when I saw her, I told her. And she said to me, I found the tracker, and I said, yeah, I know. I hired a PI. I want to make sure you're safe and not going somewhere you should. She said, where would I go that I'm not? Well, guess I'm not going to tell you. So I didn't want her to try to find some other way to get to the gun store.
Last question, I guess, unless you come up with something else. But what was the last conversation you had with Mica, and what do you remember each other saying?
It was a 4-hour conversation. We talked about everything, vacations. She still thought that she told me her family told her that I was the one that put her in the hospital, which I never ever did. There was always a doctor or her own therapist, psychiatrist, whoever. Anyway, the last thing she said was, I want to come home. And she said, I want to sleep in my bed and pee in my toilet. And I said, well, come home. She said, if I do, my family will disown me. Then she said, but not Anna. Anna's okay. I said, okay. I said, well, come home. I said, who cares what they think? And she said she was tired and wanted to go home.
When you hear that she told friends that she wanted to be on Friday, she told friends on Friday that she was looking forward to seeing them at service on Sunday, does that ring true to you?
Oh, I'm sure she was looking forward to seeing me on Sunday, yeah. That's part of the mental illness. So, I mean, that's the reason when she called 911, she acted like she's ordering a pizza. I've seen her in that state where she's in that euphoric state where she just says things she has no idea what's going on. Yeah, it's incredibly sad.
Anything else you want to say?
I really want to thank NewsNation. I feel like they went really well. They flew down here for me, so I really appreciate that. Courtney, the producer, did really good. Yes, that's it.
Nothing else?
I think for 2 minutes.
Sure. Least we can do.
How do you think it went?
I think really well.